As you guys may know, this is the cheapest EF XR6 on Facebook Marketplace at the time that I bought it. But if you don't want a clapper like this one with faded paint, and no aircon, and no heater, and no radio, you can opt for another cheap Falcon.
Now this is the cheapest FGX XR6 that was on the market at the time when I was looking to buy one.
And Peter, how much did you buy it for?
I bought it for $15,500 with a year of rego and roadworthy.
At the time, the cheapest FGX was what, like 25 grand?
Yeah, it was 24,000.
Exactly. So we both got really good deals. They're on complete opposite sides of the spectrum, as you can see. I'm going to go through some similarities, some differences that they both have. See which one's better. Since we are talking about cheap Falcons, how much exactly have we spent on each car? As you guys know, I bought this thing for $3,000 off Facebook Marketplace. The guy had it advertised for $6,500. I wasn't prepared to pay that much, so I lowballed him, expecting him to tell me to go somewhere else, basically. I ended up getting the guy down to $3,000. The car wasn't on running, so I have had to do a few things to it to get it to this stage. If you guys have watched my previous videos, you would have known that this engine bay was a complete mess when I first got the car. No accessories were bolted onto the engine. The timing case wasn't tight. The alternator was hanging off somewhere in the side. The engine bay power steering pump was off. The alternator was off. It had no belt on it at all. Basically, it had like 3 droplets of, it was basically just dust. I didn't have to spend much money on it. It was basically just oil, fluids. The majority of the money that I had to spend was actually in the transmission. So this car was manual swapped when I bought it. Factory auto car, it was manual swapped. The guy told me that all it needed was a shifter. Obviously that was completely wrong. The car just refused to go into first gear. So I had to drop $1,000 on a new transmission, on a new T5 gearbox. Not too bad, considering I bought the car pretty cheap. And luckily this T5 worked out well. It drives really nice. With miscellaneous items and repairs and stuff like that, registration, insurance and whatnot, this car owes me about $5,500. Now I have bought some new parts for this car. It is to do with the turbo incoming, so I'm not going to spoil those parts just yet, but they will be arriving soon, so stay tuned. So Peter, your car is basically stock.
Yep.
But you still have spent quite a bit of money on it.
Yeah.
What exactly have you done?
I've had to do 4 tires, which costed me about $800 approximately, fitted by, shout out Nathan. And I had to buy a power steering pump as well, as
no surprise there.
As every P-plater with an FG or FGX Falcon knows, power steering dies when you try and do a skid. I've also had to buy an ICC, which costed me $350. Luckily, I managed to get it really cheap. Yeah, it's just common things that go wrong with these cars.
But yeah, other than that, the car is completely stock. Got a little bit of got a crank breather there and just a intake pipe that deletes the muffler so you can hear the induction noise a bit better. Some obvious differences you'll find between an EF and an FG. Obviously the barra and the sock. So this EF is a factory option Tickford model, so it has a Tickford head. As you can see there, no cap. The big T. This one has like minor modifications done to it by the previous owner. It's got a Wade cam, it's got valve springs, pacemaker 4499 extractors, full 2.5-inch cat back. So it does go pretty well. This, on the other hand, I am genuinely shocked by how well LPIs go. So this isn't a gassy, this is an LPI. So the most distinguishing factor is the silver valve cover. A dedicated gas motor will have a green valve cover. People commonly refer to them as green tops. This is a regular NA, however it has higher compression pistons. So I believe they're like, what, 12-to-1 comp or something like that? So it's super efficient and it's very fast. Say a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to anyone that's watching this video. We are recording this on Christmas Day. We're spending our time in a portable sauna. This thing, no aircon. So, the first thing with this car, it has 356,000 Ks on the chassis. I don't know how much the engine has and I don't know how much the gearbox has, but it does not drive like it has 356,000 Ks. Would you say so, Peter?
No, it drives them in.
Yeah, I'd say it has maybe 256,000 Ks. I love driving this thing because it's not the quickest thing in the world, but it's a lot of fun to drive because it is NA, it has a lot of torque. I'm in third gear now, 60 Ks an hour. Still pulls like a new car. There is one obvious thing you can tell between an FGX and this car, and that is it does not turn very well. It turns first and then the rest of the car follows. So that has something to do with the fact that it probably has blown suspension, or the fact that it is lowered and it's not done properly. A car like this is never ever gonna feel as good as a new car, obviously. What this thing is really good for is cruising. It's not gonna win any races. It's not gonna go around the track very quickly, but it is super comfortable. Its main purpose is just to get people from point A to point B in comfort and style.
Apart from the fact that it's literally a bouncing castle on wheels.
Yeah, let's gloss over that. And the fact that it doesn't have aircon, and it doesn't have a heater, and the radio's in the back seat.
Fuck, that thing actually flies. So a couple of things that I can notice straight away. The steering does feel a lot sloppier than my FGX Falcon. Overall, this car is way more fun to drive. Like, my car's auto, it's a full NPC car. This one's manual, it's loud, it's got a cam, so it's really fun, this one.
I have the windows up this time because this has climate control. First thing you'll notice about this car, it's quiet, it's comfortable, it's just made for cruising, it's made for just munching kilometers. You don't ever get tired driving this thing. In the world of Falcons and Commodores, Falcons destroy Commodores in the sense that you can just hop in them and just drive around Australia and not even bat an eye. But it's not to say that this thing isn't quick either. You know, it's got to pull onto highways, it's got to maintain speed comfortably, and it can't be stressed, otherwise the engine won't last very long. So we've swapped out the 5-speed T5 Tremec gearbox for a German-built ZF 6HP. This is probably the best decision Ford has ever made in their whole career in Australia, putting this transmission in. It shifts quick, very responsive, and they're tunable. My only gripe about this gearbox is that it doesn't auto rev match. So when you do downshift it, the engine brake instead of actually like blip the throttle and go to the next gear. This thing has 220,000 Ks on it. It does do mainly highway kilometers, but sometimes Peter does like to get into it, and he doesn't drive it too gently sometimes, and it feels amazing. Obviously they are both Falcons, but it was interesting to compare how different the older ones are to the new ones and how similar they are too. Although it's pretty obvious they are 20 years apart, they do share some similarities too. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Take it easy.